Guys, it's with a heavy heart that I must say our fantasy season is over. I don't know if I'm ever going to talk to you guys ever again. Because obviously, fantasy was the real reason why we were kind of communicating this season. And the season didn't quite go as well as I would have hoped for myself. No one to blame but me on that one. But we did have a winner. Now, is this winner the J team that I wanted to win? Who knows? I know. But I'm not going to say who I wanted to win. But I think you can figure it out pretty easily. That the season didn't go the way I wanted. Nothing worked the way I wanted it to work. So let's get down to it. There was one match, really, that was worth talking about last week. And that match was Jack versus Jamie. Jamie, you came out on top. It was 502.5 to 487 points. Jack, you fell the last week of the season. I feel for you, bud. Shit happens. I'm sorry. A lot of things had to go wrong, and a lot of things had to go right for the outcome that happened. Jack, your best player was Nelson Cruz. Nelson Boomstick Cruz got you 70.5 points. Hit a solid .333 average with 4 home runs. That Boomstick was doing work. Jamie, your best player was arguably the best pitcher in baseball. Well, the highest scoring pitcher in baseball. We'll talk about that in a second. But Chris Sale, 78 points. Made it through 8 innings of work. Gave up 4 hits while striking out 13. A very, very good outing for Chris Sale. Jack, your worst player, Springer. George Springer for the Houston Astros was not doing you any favors. I think he went 1 for 16 for a .063 average. And I rounded that up from .0625. 1 for 12, hit 1 double for negative 7.5 points. He was not producing for you. Jamie, I'm not going to talk any bad about your team because you won. Albeit 502.5 points isn't a lot, but it was all you needed. It's enough to put you over the top. It was a good final matchup. It was back and forth, especially the last day, back and forth the entire time. I would look, Jamie, you'd have the lead, Jack would have the lead, Jamie had the lead, Jack had the lead, up until the last game on Sunday. Jack had the lead. That last game happened to be Houston and Los Angeles. Well, not the Dodgers, the Angels. So, Jamie, you have Carlos Correa on your team, and you have one ex-Giant, Yusmeiro Petit. Correa ended up going like 2 for 4, 2 for 5, I don't know. Got you 8-9 points. And Petit came in clutch in the 8th inning with a very good hold for 14 and a half points, and that was all it took. That was all it took for you, Jamie, to be victorious. Congratulations to Jamie. You won. Talk to Jack about how you're going to get that trophy from him, because I'm not going to be a part of that. Jack, you owe it to him to send that thing with your little flair. Send it to him in Texas. It's not that far. And Jamie, when you get it, cherish it. Treat it well. The big sexy is all yours. Yeah, that hold by Petit was clutch. Carlos Correa was clutch. If he had gone 0 for 4, you wouldn't have won. You would not have won. But Jack, you had to have some things go wrong for your team as well. A very unfortunate time for Wade Davis to blow a save on Saturday for negative 16.5 points. A walk-off home run against the Brewers. Wade Davis, man, come on. And then Kershaw had a great game for you on Sunday. Went like 7 innings, 8 innings pitched. Only allowed a couple hits, but unfortunately, one of those hits was a home run. Maybe that was his only hit allowed. It might have been his only hit. I don't know. It was against the Giants. I tend not to pay attention to Giants games much anymore. It's too much. My heart can't take it. I'm dipping deeper and deeper into depression as not only baseball season ends, but fantasy season's over. The Giants were garbage. The only thing I have to look forward to is who is going to be our pick in the draft, because I think we have the second pick in the draft because our team is such shit this year. So, being that this is the end of the season, I thought I would go through and pull just the top performers out of each position. So you can kind of see where your team lies by if you have any of these players, first off, and how many of these players you'll have. And it'll become quite apparent as to why one team did what they did this year. So let's start with starting pitching. And this is just total points earned over the season. For most of these, I'll talk about the one kind of exception because I had to do something different. There's too many variables to make it total points. But starting pitching, the highest point scorers in our league, in our format. Number 1, Chris Sale, with a total of 1,406 points. The only pitcher in our league to break that 1,400 point mark. I mean, he's definitely dipped his past couple games, but the performance he had at the beginning of the season was lights out. Still, 300 strikeout season. Definitely a front runner for the American League Cy Young. I don't think it's going to happen just because of how he's been pitching lately, but solid. We all know who has Chris Sale. Jamie, you have Chris Sale. Congratulations on having the best pitcher in the league. Number 2, the second best pitcher in the league, Corey Kluber, who would still be on Jamie's team if it wasn't for me. Didn't matter, he still won. But Corey Kluber came in at 1,351 points. I think he is the guy that's going to win the American League Cy Young. I think the only reason he's not any higher is because he had that small little DL stint. But he has been so dominant all season. All season, he's been pretty consistent, just killing guys. Racking up those Ks. Coming in at number 3. Probably the National League Cy Young Award winner, Max Scherzer. 1,271.5 points for Scherzer. Very solid. And then this is where things drop drastically. So he went from 14 to 13 to 1,200. Now everyone else is not even over that 1,200 mark. Number 4 is Greinke, for Arizona. That was surprising to me. I didn't realize he was having that. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was that good. He scored 1,105 points. Solid. That's good. Number 5 is Severino. Luis Severino for the Yankees. He's got 1,104 total points. And then coming in at number 6 is Carlos Carrasco at 1,054.5 points. So out of the top 6 best pitchers in the league, Jamie had 3 and at 1.4 of the top 6 best pitchers in the league. Jamie, awesome draft. I don't know if you knew what you were doing, but you definitely made some very good choices on who you were going to pick up. So congratulations again, Jamie. Obviously, that's one of the main reasons why you won. So, I mean, good job. I'm going to take a page out of your book next year and try to do the same thing. Relief pitchers. This is where it got weird because a lot of, like Severino has relief pitching. He's considered a relief pitcher in our league just because he has relief pitcher eligibility. So he would obviously be way up on top for total points. So for relief pitchers, I went with total saves. That's the best way a relief pitcher can get points, is racking up those saves. So number 1 is Colomé for Tampa Bay with 46. Number 2 is Greg Holland with 41. Jansen has 40 for the Dodgers. Fernando Rodney for Arizona has 39. Osuna, surprisingly, is on there for Toronto with 38. And then Nebel has 38 as well. So that's your top 6 relief pitchers for saves. And then we're getting to the position players, so offensive players. Let's start with catcher. Number 1, best catcher in the league was Gary Scary Sanchez from New York. He had 764.5 points. Number 2 was Posey, who's surprising, had a great season for a terrible team with 762 points, so only 2.5 points behind number 1. And then coming in almost 100 points below the top 2 is JT Realmuto, who went for like $1 in our league. He was cheap. I don't think anyone even picked him up. He might have been picked up off of waivers. But JT Realmuto for Miami, who was a solid catcher, he did well. I'm only doing the top 3 for all the rest of them until we get to the outfield. First base, number 1 is Joey Votto, the walk king, on base percentage king. Joey Votto with 1,254 points. Very impressive. Number 2 is my boy, Paul Goldschmidt for Arizona. 1,148.5 points. Very impressive. And coming in at number 3 is the Cubs first baseman, Anthony Rizzo, with 1,050 points. If you had any of those guys, that's why your team's winning. You've got good offensive players. Second base, the top 3 second basemen in our league. Number 1, should be obvious, probably the American League MVP. Should be the American League MVP. Jose Altuve with 1,123.5 points. Number 2, this came as a complete surprise. I didn't even know he played this position. But Anthony Rizzo has second base eligibility. What the fuck? I didn't know that. So he comes in at second with 1,050 points. And then number 3 is a guy you're going to see on this list at least 3 or 4 more times. Jose Ramirez for Cleveland. Plays every position pretty much, but he has 1,044.5 points. There you go. That's kind of weird. You can see that. Third base. Nolan Arenado, number 1. 1,101.5 points. Number 2 is the Cubs third baseman, Chris Bryant, at 1,063 points. And number 3 is that guy I just mentioned, Jose Ramirez. 1,044.5 points for Jose Ramirez. He plays third base, second base. I think he plays outfield, too. So shortstops. Now, shortstops is kind of a shallow position. Not a whole lot of high points scored for the shortstop position. Number 1 is Francisco Lindor for Cleveland. I think there's a reason why Cleveland is doing so well, because they have a lot of players on these top 3 lists. I mean, 2 of their pitchers are the top 2 performers for top 6 performers for the league. Carlos Carrasco, Corey Kluber. That's a bad 1-2 punch. You don't want to go up against that. Elvis Andrus, though, comes in at second for Texas, 860 points. And then number 3 is Manny Machado, who had a very disappointing season for me at 834.5 points. So, very disappointing. I'm very disappointed with Manny Machado. And then outfield, I pulled the top 6 again because each of us can have 3 or 4 of these guys at any given time. There's a lot of outfielders to go around. Number 1 is Charlie Blackmon for the Colorado Rockies with a staggering 1,243.5 points. I think that's the most scored by anyone in our league offensively is Blackmon with that 1,243.5 points. Very impressive. Number 2 is Judge, Aaron Judge for New York. 1,237.5 points for Aaron Judge. Number 3 is Giancarlo Stanton for the Marlins. 1,205.5 points for Stanton. Chris Bryant has outfield eligibility, so he's up there for outfielders with 1,063. Number 5 is Jose Ramirez for Cleveland, 1,044.5 points. And then coming in 6th place is Ozuna with 1,033 points. And that's it. That's all I have. So those were the top performers across the board in our league. I didn't have a lot of those guys. I maybe had 2 or 3. Might be why I ended up where I did ranking-wise in this league. So, with that, this is going to be my last video for a while. I have no reason to make these anymore. I have no reason to talk to you guys about baseball anymore, about fantasy. It's over. It is over. What's pissing me off, though, is that my phone is still alerting me that, hey, Greinke's starting today for Arizona, but he's not in your lineup. The season's over, app. Figure that shit out. Stop pissing me off with these alerts. Season-wise, I think we did well. Once you guys, it was a bit of a learning curve with the only 5 starts allowed and kind of figuring out who's good and who's bad in this league. But I don't know if we're going to change a whole lot. I mean, we totally revamped the league this year. This was a total rule change, scoring change. Everything was different, pretty much. I don't think we need to change anything. I like how it worked out. I liked the 5-start rule, no streaming. I don't know what else we could do. I'm open to suggestions. I think we're going to keep the keeper situation the same, so you're allowed 3 at that $5, $10, and $15 increase for what you paid for last year. I think that was a good idea. That worked well. I mean, it worked well in rule-wise. It didn't work out well for who I kept and what they performed for me. That my keepers were shit. I traded one of them, and the other one was garbage. But that's it. I think the 2 DL spot was nice. Any more than that, it's kind of, you can keep too many guys. If your guys are hurt, and they're going to be hurt for a while, you got to drop them. And then just be on the ball about picking them up when they get healthy. Because any more than 2, I think it's going to be too easy to just, oh, this guy's hurt, put him in the DL, pick someone else up. I like the 2 DL thing. Keeps things interesting. I'm open to suggestions, though. I don't know what else we could do. So I'm leaving it up to you guys to let me know, and maybe let me know a little sooner than 5 or 10 minutes before the draft starts. It's kind of hard to implement changes that early. As we realized last year, or this year, I guess, this draft, with the keeper selection. If you don't have your keeper selections locked in an hour before the draft, I'm just going to say, too bad. You don't get keepers, because I had to push the draft back this season half an hour or an hour or whatever. We were just sitting around waiting because the keeper selection thing. So I'll try to remind you guys before the season starts next year. I think the 18s is good. If anyone has any friends that really want to play in a league, I'm open to having more teams next year. I don't want to go with any less, though. Any less, and it becomes our teams are too stacked, and you're playing the same guy 4, 5, 6 times during the season. And how many times can I lose to Jamie? How many times can I lose to Jack? How many times can I lose to any of you before I want to kill myself? So it's nice to lose to a variety of people instead of the same 5 guys or gals. Maggie, you could beat me. You definitely improved as the season went on. So I want to lose to more than 5 or 6 different people as the season progresses. So let's not get too huge with this. I don't want 12 people on the team, but 10, maybe 12. Who knows? It'll be fun. And I like how the bets escalated. I don't know if we can keep it up for next season. We might have to reset, start a little smaller, and then as the season progresses, get back to where we were, because I honestly threw up due to one of these. The last bet I lost made me sick. I think the last bet Joby lost made him sick. So, let's not do that right off the bat. My body can't handle that. And as your commissioner, I just want to thank you all, honestly, for putting up with me, putting up with this season, putting up with this shit. I appreciate it. It's just one more aspect of all of the friendships I have with you guys. It's one more thing for us to talk about, one more thing for us to talk shit about, definitely. And it is fun to watch some of you guys do some really stupid shit. So I appreciate it. I love you all. And let's keep this going. Next season, what do we have? 8 months until we draft again. So put it in your calendars. Maybe 7 months. Mark them now. Start your research, because I'm coming next season, guns a-blazing. I know how this league works now, and I'm coming for you. All of you. No mercy. Love you guys. Peace.